What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Print Factory Show. We're talking week 10. We're talking week 10. It's been 10 weeks of NFL. This is wild. I got my boys with me, obviously. Uncle Dunkle, Big T in the house. Obviously, no ODB, second day of the main event. So he couldn't make it. But good luck to him in the main event. Hopefully he crushes. Maybe he'll drop some winners on Twitter. We'll see what we can do, to tweet him out if you want some ODB winners. I'm sure I'll hook you up. But we got the boys to give some winners. Uncle Dunkle, how was your week 9, brother?
Hands down, best week of the season. It was great. It was great.
Nothing ever gets better than when Dunkle talks about his winners. It's my favorite part of any show where he's like Tony, in the grave talking about his best week of the season.
Tony, it's the most it was a great week.
Whenever he has a good week, I just know he's gonna come in like full midnight to 4:30 in the afternoon. I mean, just whoo.
Yeah, I've had better weeks. No, it was a great week. I think I lost like 1 or 2 total bets in the NFL. I mean, it was nice to finally have everything full circle. College football was good as well. So nice to finally have one of those weekends. It's been frustrating for me. Either NFL's been good or college has been good. Neither's been good both weeks. Just a great week and saw the board great and hoping to carry that momentum right into this week.
Love it. We got some guys in the chat. I see Big T picking winners in there for our boy Big T. Let's go. Big T, is that one of your burner accounts?
Yep.
You cannot confirm or deny, can you?
Do they always say good things about me? Yes, that's me.
I would definitely think that Big T picking winners says only good things about Big T. I would assume that. He says,
I don't know, that one dude from the show. That dude that's always on that free show asking for me. I said I would hook him up with a ticket last week, but then he disappeared for the rest of the show, never said anything. And he sent me 4,000 straight Twitter messages. Dude, the way to get something from me is not to nag at me. That makes it worse. I don't deal with the nagging as well.
I promise you, if Big T promises you something, you will get it. You just have to message him once, though. He will get back to you. Yeah. I guarantee, Big T, don't even speak for a second. I guarantee you he will get back to you. If you send him one message and then just wait for it, he will. I guarantee you won't leave you hanging. I promise you that. If he does, then DM me, let me know, and then I'll get on Big T. Because
this is very tempting, Dunkle. I could not respond, and we get JSU more DMs.
Yeah, I'm all for John's inbox getting loaded up.
Yeah,
I told Dunkle to slide in the old DMs. He said his wife, obviously because Dunkle recently married. Congrats to you guys again. But she was telling him he's got to drop some LBs, and I told Dunkle, I said, listen, I have a little knowledge in this department. If you need any help,
she told you need to lose LBs. Don't bury the lead. 1 week into marriage, she threw the LBs out there.
She was just like, you were in really good shape when we met, and I don't really know what to even call this current shape. It wasn't like fat. I mean, it was just and I'm like, all right, that's how we're starting the day. Okay.
Oh, that was in the morning too.
I was
in there 83. That's a touchdown. That's what we call a touchdown in the Maction, JSU.
Love it. I love the Maction. I love touchdowns. Let's get it. We got a few other guys in there. I see Gatekeeper.
Hey,
what?
Dunkle.
What are you yelling, Dunkle?
What Urban Meyer do last week, baby? Dunkle, what Urban do?
All right, so this is a test, guys. I promised last week that I would not speak on that man until the end of the year. I promise. Tony is trying to get me into it. Before we even start the goddamn show, we haven't even started the show, and Tony's already trying to get me going.
Because I want to say something.
No,
Dunkle.
Hold on. I will not bring the man's name up. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get me to speak. I'm going on mute. I'm going to watch the end of the Cavs game. You guys can talk about Urban Meyer. I'm muting your ass.
I need this 2-pointer real quick. Oh, the deuce. Get the deuce. Oh, we got so Dunkle. So this freaking guy wants to victory lap. What was it? Week 9, his Urban. You gave him the facts that it was a 4-win team total coming into the season. He's now got 2 wins halfway through the year. And our man JSU's victory lap, and that he was somehow right because in season 1, Urban Meyer isn't 9-0 after 9 weeks.
Yeah. First of all, I had Buffalo in all my survivors. So that was it was not the week for Urban Meyer to kind of correct.
So I was trying to needle JSU, and I was actually needling you. That's not what I'm trying to do. Yeah. Usually we stick together versus JSU.
I'm back. I love that part. I love that part. I love it. I'm back. I'm here for this now. Let me sit back down. I'm back down. I'm listening. And I'm here.
I actually don't want to talk about him. I'm done needling. He'll move us on to the slate.
No, please keep going. I want to talk about it now. Oh, no, that's it. So I guess we're
did you see that 2-pointer, Dunkle? That was a nice little deuce.
I don't think he got it.
I think he did. The replay.
They called it illegal touching.
Oh, really? He stepped out before that?
That's what they called. I don't see it there, but they'll reveal it. Either way. So I'm not the biggest fan of Urban Meyer for the wrong reasons this week, but look, kudos to them. They played good in Buffalo, who's been sleepwalking the last few weeks, kind of letting bad teams hang around. It bit him there. Josh Allen looked awful in that game. JSU, normally this is where you defend Urban Meyer.
Yeah, no, I told you I will not speak on the man till the end of the season. I made it. I'm not going away from it now. Tony, I told you you're trying to get me to speak on him. I will not.
How amazing would it be, Dunkle, if Jacksonville wins like 6 straight games and he still can't say anything? He just has to sit there on mute every week.
Listen, the people, this is what you wanted, people. Tony, you asked me to do this. I am not speaking on it. I'm a man of my word. When I say something, I mean it, and I will not speak on the man the rest of the season. Good luck to said person. I hope he does well.
The person being referenced, good luck.
Dunkle, I am sorry though that you were on the Bills survivor. That is extremely unfortunate. And that game was, God, if you had to sit and watch that game, I'm sorry, because that was awful. That game,
I was on the live show. I was on the live show with them. I actually was live hitting Jacksonville in the fourth quarter a few different times, because once I saw the Cowboys lost, or the Cowboys were down like 8 touchdowns against the Broncos, it was going to wipe out the next 70% of my league. So last week, the Jets wiped out a bunch of teams. Once I saw Dallas was going to wipe out, it was going to be like 12 people left in my survivors. So I started live hedging on Jacksonville money line, and I got a little bit back, a few thousand, but I would have much preferred to still be in and have all that equity.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Sorry again. We'll move on though. We'll I'm sure get to talking some of these teams. Maybe I forget if they're on the main slate. We'll get to it in a sec though. Before we get to that, guys, don't forget, hit that thumbs up, hit that like button, hit the subscribe, that red button in the right-hand corner. Hit that subscribe button, get you notified every time we go live for these free banging YouTube shows. We got them for all sports, NBA, NFL, golf, you name it, we got it. So check that out over there. Let's just, guys, I mean, we don't have to talk about last week. I think, Tony, we had a pretty good week from a DFS side. I know we were both heavy on Lamar, which was great. And honestly, when you were heavy on Lamar, Marquise Brown, Nick Chubb, some of those guys, you could have this stinker. Like I was heavy on Zeke. I was pretty much all in Zeke. And I had Zeke on pretty much all my lineups, and a lot of them still cash. So I was fine with it. It was a good week. I didn't get to the shipper, first place, but hey, I was happy with it. I made a little cash and I moved on. What about you?
Yeah, with the way the year has started, it feels good to ever turn a profit. It was kind of a lucky week because I hit on the people. It was like the slowest or the lowest scoring week of the year. And if you had, like you said, Lamar, Chubb, Marquise, Jefferson, even these guys that actually score points, and then Connor, obviously in the afternoon, low owned. But if you had these guys, you were just going to win. It's not like that every week. There was just no scoring. So, like, I had Zach Moss like everywhere. Didn't matter. It just didn't matter. If you had Chubb and Lamar, honestly, with much else, and then the Chiefs D obviously was the chalkiest. They did pretty good. Some of the other Ds that I pivoted to did good too. So defense actually did matter. Like on my main team, I pivoted from the chalky Chiefs to the 49ers. And it was a bad pivot. We talk about the good pivots sometimes, terrible pivot to try to get leverage. Cost myself not a final seat, luckily. I was happy about that, but it definitely cost me a big chunk giving up 10, 11 points this week, especially from defense. I mean, it just because the dude that won $1 million, at least the big Millie, had Moss and his team too. So I wasn't that far off, just made a bad pivot. Made money, though, like you said. So I can't complain with the way this year started. I think I've only won 2 out of the 9 weeks. So I feel good to book a win, even though it could have been more.
Yep, I agree with you. Let's move on, though, and let's talk about this week 10. You know what I mean? We'll get into it. We'll quickly, just real quick, discuss if we like anything from the Thursday night game. But most of that, guys, if you're not a subscriber, we do a showdown show, me, Big T, and Tambo, where we talk about the entire game from a showdown aspect. We'll give you our leans, but we'll give you a little lean from the betting side real quick to start the show off, and then we'll get into the main slate action for this week. So let's talk about Baltimore Ravens, Miami Dolphins. Ravens -7.5, 46.5 is the total in this game. Dunkle, I'll just throw it to you real quick. Any leans on this game?
Yeah, I actually like the Ravens under their team total. So it's 27.5. Best price I've seen is FanDuel at -102. I think you can sit on this, though, and maybe even get 28. Obviously, it goes without saying how key 28 is versus 27. But the main thing is the Ravens this year just have not been that bully that we've been accustomed to seeing. They've only played 2 teams with offenses that are outside the top 15 in yards per play. And that was the Lions and the Broncos, I believe. Both those games, the Ravens won, averaging, I think, 21 points in both games, not going over 23 in either. They coasted the Lions game. It almost cost them the game. I know there's still the QB issue with Brissett or Tua. To me, it doesn't matter. Both guys can move the chains. They just lack big upside in terms of big plays. Miami has better time of possession at home, much better than they do on the road. If they can just string together a decent amount of first downs, eat up some clock, chew up clock, it's not crazy to me to think short week, Ravens just want to get a win. They just finally separated themselves in their division. I think that, you're traveling on the road in a short week. I think you just want to grab a win here. I don't think this is a statement game by any means for the Ravens. Now, don't get me wrong. Of course, Miami could trip over themselves. They're one of the highest turnover-prone teams in the NFL. But as long as they play a safe game, try to keep it within one score, under 10. I think you get a decent back and forth where Baltimore's not going to press. And believe it or not, as crazy as it sounds, 5 times this year, Baltimore has not scored more than 10 points in the first half. So I think that if we get another slow start from Baltimore in a game where they won't need to score points, I think they can carry that right into the second half. So call it a narrative, call it half narrative, half numbers. I don't think you get an explosive version of the Ravens tomorrow.
All right. Tony, what do you think here with this game real quick? Just a quick, run through.
Yeah, well, like JSU said, we'll cover the DFS side tomorrow on the Showdown show, and people can get our thoughts from DFS there because I'm sure we'll see stuff open throughout the day. But as far as betting, it's my favorite week. I get a Wong teaser to start the week. I can put it with anything else I like on the weekend. Baltimore's -7.5 right now. Like always, we've talked about for years now. Tease through the 7, through the 3. And if there's not, I haven't looked at the rest of the slate as far as teasers yet. But you can put it with anything. Even if you like a college game, you can put it with. You can just set yourself up for the whole weekend tomorrow because I don't see Baltimore losing to Miami either. I really like it. Love weeks like this where you can just put it up front, even if it's one bet. If you love a game on Saturday, just put Baltimore with it. get similar odds, but 6 extra points in your side can always help out. So I love that JSU to start the week.
I actually love that too. I think Baltimore
Fucking love that, actually. Isn't that what that video says?
Love that. Yeah, I fucking love that. I'm with you. I like it. Maybe we can find some games as we go through to kind of start the week off good, right? You like to do that sometimes, get the week going good. So maybe we can find some here.
We've been lucky too. A couple of these Thursdays where we've done this, we've had like a loser the whole game, and then we like get a field goal or a turnover, and we've hit all these. So keep this run pure going, because there's nothing better than starting a week like that with a staple game, and there's nothing worse than losing it where you lose the whole base and you got to get back in there on the weekend.
Yeah, definitely doesn't feel good when you lose it all like the first night, but feels great when you set yourself up for the weekend. I'll tell you that. So if you guys want to check out that Showdown show, though, it is behind the paywall. RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off your first month's payment to RunPure Sports, with all the content for every sport, core plays, cash charts, live shows for NBA. We got it all, a Discord. Check it out. RPS Heater 25. Get you 25% off your first month. All right, let's move on to the main slate of games. And we're going to start out with the Cleveland Browns and the New England Patriots here. Patriots at home, -1.5, 2.5. 45 is the total here. So Patriots are favored. Obviously for Cleveland right now, they're down three running backs, actually. Nick Chubb, Felton, and I think it's John Kelly. They all have COVID, tested positive for COVID. So they need the 2 negative tests or whatever it is in 24 hours. So we'll see if they're not in, though. It's going to be Dearness Johnson for Cleveland is going to be massive chalk in DFS. I know that for a fact. But what do we think about from a betting side? Probably doesn't mean a ton, but Dunkle, what do you think?
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a pass game for me. But I guess just to give you some insight. So I think it is very difficult. So I don't mind betting Cleveland when they're playing an inferior team at home with all these missing pieces. I do mind them running into the best version of New England right now. Just seems like New England's playing really good football, right? I mean, sure, they blow out the Jets, who cares? But then they squeeze a nice road win at the Chargers. They dominate the Panthers for 4 quarters. Now they host the Browns. I guess maybe we could talk on them. The Patriots maybe meeting out. I am just not a Baker Mayfield guy. He's going to have their third or fourth string running back. And Dearness Johnson's a great story, and I hope he plays well here, but it's a tougher matchup for him here versus, I think they played the Broncos last go-around when he had the big game. Was it the Broncos? I don't remember. I think it was Broncos.
Yeah, it was the Broncos. It was the Broncos.
I don't necessarily trust the Browns enough to want to bet them here. I do think there is some substance, though, in a teaser taking Cleveland. Look, we talked on this JSU last week. I liked taking Cleveland up to 8.5 against the Bengals. This is a team I don't like laying points with ever. I don't trust Baker Mayfield enough late in games to ensure a lead and ensure a cover. But this team's good enough where when they're small underdogs, you can tease them up. And you should actually, feel okay about it. New England's won a few games in a row. This is actually a decent tee spot for Cleveland, but there's so many question marks about this offense. I think the problem with New England for me in this spot is much like I say with often with sports betting. You're paying for this team at their peak. They've won 3 straight games. They've won a few games by a wide margin. I think they've covered 3 straight games. You're paying a higher tax on them, in my opinion. I think this game's more of a pick 'em. The injuries probably level this out a bit. All things considered, this would be a game I would tease. I would not bet this, but I would be content to tease this up to 8.5 with the Browns.
Okay. All right. Tony, what do you think of this game? I mean, Cleveland obviously down a bunch of running backs, but we've seen this spot before where they've been down guys and they plug them right in, and the next guy looks pretty good. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say he's Nick Chubb, but he looked pretty damn good when he was out there. That offensive line.
He looked really good that week. I mean, yeah. He looked like a stud.
I will say, for when you're a Cleveland running back, it's great when like that O-line can push the D-line, whoever they're playing, like 2-3 yards back every single time they snap the ball. But, he looked good. What do you think of this game?
Yeah, I mean, I like it DFS-wise because we can just ignore it. I mean, I don't really see anywhere you want to go DFS wise. So
Well,
keep it short with that.
What about the cheap running back? Nothing.
I mean, I just haven't played them that much as far as like roster construction. I just don't get down to that point where I don't know. Like, what do we think the ownership's going to be?
I mean, I don't know. You're saying you have no interest in him?
I mean, I haven't built teams yet.
No, I'm asking though. Like, he's 4,700. He's going to have no competition if all three of those running backs are out. They signed, I think, Brian Hill to the practice squad. So it'd be.
I mean, I don't know. What do we think the status is? I mean, obviously Wednesday night, I haven't thought too much about the injuries. I guess it seems more clouded to me. I mean, so you're saying who would the options be?
It would be Dearness Johnson and then Brian Hill, because they're down 3 running backs.
So Felton's for sure not playing?
Well, Felton's the same as Chubb. They're not for sure not playing. They both have COVID, and they need 2 negative tests. What's the rule, Dunkle? Within 24 hours?
24 hours, I think.
Yeah. So I'll say this, that their odds are definitely closer to probably not playing than it is for them to be playing, but they still could play is the point.
Yeah.
They could do it.
I mean, I don't know. Just like my initial reaction is I just don't like it as much. In New England, I feel like they don't have that much on offense where Belichick may just stuff the line of scrimmage and make him try to do something. I don't know. Like, by Sunday, I could easily like him. I just haven't looked at roster construction enough, and I don't like him off the surface, though. It's not like the last spot either. I put him in the captain on that showdown slate, who are they playing again?
Denver.
Yeah, and I loved him there. I don't like the spot, and I could see even if they brought someone else in, giving them a little work. So I don't know, but this is another teaser game as far as betting too, which I love in this spot because I think this game stays close, and I want the plus 8.5 or whatever it is, teaser wise.
See, but knowing you and you think this game stays close, I kind of like the running back if the game stays close, because I think if that's the case, Cleveland, you know what Cleveland wants to do. They want to run the football. Whoever's back there is getting the football, right? They need to run the football. I think they did a really good job. You guys know when I came on the show last week, I was pissed. I thought they didn't run the football enough the week before when they lost to the Steelers. And I thought this week they kind of corrected it, and they just led on that offensive line and Nick Chubb and just ran the football, did it really well. I think if you think the game stays close, I would probably have some interest in the guy that's not going to come off the field very much. I mean, last time they had Felton, and he still didn't come off the field that much. Felton didn't play as much as I thought he was going to play. To be honest, I thought it was going to be closer to like a 50-50 or in that game, 60-40, and it wasn't. Johnson played much more than Felton. So we'll see what they do. I think he makes a lot of sense as a cheap running back.
I could always be talked into it too. The cheap running backs, I can definitely be sold by Sunday.
Nothing better too than like when you have the offensive line, you know the team also wants to run the football. Like the ball is going to go in that running back's gut a lot, I think, if the game stays close. But nothing else. I'm with Tony here. I like the game to stay close too. And yeah, I mean, we'll see. Let's move on though. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Washington football team. -9.5. Bucs are favored. 51.5 is the total. A little bit of news in this game as well, with a couple guys for Tampa Bay. I think Chris Godwin's status is up in the air. Held out of practice today. We'll see with him. He's got like a foot issue. Antonio Brown, they said, is still in a boot. So seems like he won't play this week. Scotty Miller's on IR, but he might come back. They don't know about him yet. Rob Gronkowski didn't practice again today. He's up in the air. So a lot of pieces for this Tampa Bay team is up in the air to play, I would say. But this is a really good matchup for Tom Brady, in my opinion, in the passing game. Dunkle, what do you think from a bet side, though?
Yeah, I think I want to play by ear some more of these injuries as we get later in the week. But if not all of them are out, I'm really going to like this over. To me, Washington just hasn't gotten the pass rush that they've, heralded coming into the year. They've actually had one of the worst defenses in the NFL. And to your point on this being a good matchup for Brady, you're right. There's no reason he shouldn't be able to attack the secondary. But if he's missing a bunch of weapons, you could argue with continuity issues. It is still Brady, though. Probably won't be a big deal. And on the Washington side, yeah, sure, it's tough to run against Tampa, but this offense is shown to be able to move the ball downfield, and they have talented playmakers as well. So I'll wait to sit on injury news, but assuming we get some of these guys that actually end up playing, over is going to – I know it's a big number, 51.5 or 51, pending your book. This is going to be a spot I like because, first of all, Washington has been proven to be a team that is willing to score in garbage time if they're down a lot, and Tampa doesn't slow themselves down if they can score on teams. To me, there's a shot both these teams go over their team totals, but I'll wait on injuries.
Yeah, interesting. Tony, he brings up, not being able to run the football against Tampa. I don't think many teams, will be able to, but the way the Washington football team uses that short passing game with J.D. McKissic, if you look at what he's done recently, the last 3 games, he's had a nice little uptick, 10, 6, and 8 targets his last 3 games in the passing game. They're really using him a lot more. Now, you could maybe say that it's because they're down a lot of wide receivers who are questionable for this week. Again, Curtis Samuel, De'Ami Brown, Cam Sims, all questionable. But I kind of like how they've been using them. And from a DFS side, if a team's going in saying we might struggle to run the football against this team, well, the short passing game with the running back is like an extension of the run. And I think it could be used here. It makes a lot of sense. I think he's interesting for DFS. We'll have to wait on the injuries, obviously. But what do you think of this game?
Yeah, these Tampa games are super interesting because of how dominant they've been. Ever since the Super Bowl, really. How many touchdowns does Tom Brady have on the year? The more I'm thinking about it, it feels like he throws 4 or 5 every week, like 350 and 4, 350 and 5. Like it's insane what he's doing, and I'm not even a Brady guy. But
just so you know, Tony, he's had 25 touchdowns so far this year.
In how many games? 8?
He's had 25. 26 if you count the 1 rushing touchdown. And yes, 8 games.
That's just crazy. So he's averaging over 3 at this age. Just insane. I don't know what to make of Washington. Do what?
It's like he's at Texas Tech in the college touchdown.
Yeah. It's outrageous.
He's going to throw for 50 touchdowns. This dude, he's going to do it. If he plays all of his games.
The insane part too is I've never been a Brady guy, and he's almost earned my respect more the last 2 years than his whole career. And it's crazy. I never want to play him, but every week he's obviously in play because he keeps crushing. On paper, I feel like this matchup's tougher for him than most, but man, Washington's D just has been a letdown for me. I thought they would be better. I still every week I feel like they have the same upside, but it just hasn't happened yet. So I don't know. Fantasy wise though, I don't like as much here as I probably should. I like the McKissic call because I think they'll be playing from behind, and he's one of those guys. If you guarantee a good script, he's going to crush. If somehow they win, he's not going to do good. He's like one of the most easy people to predict. And with Tampa, you feel like it's a McKissic game for sure. So at 5,200, that would be where I'd go. And I guess, like I said, Brady with any of these receivers that play is great with me too.
Yeah, I think Brady – I haven't even looked at the entire slate yet, but I can already tell you I'm going to like Brady. I know I'm going to. With all these guys
every week, like crushing.
And Tony, okay, so let's just say that Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin both don't play somehow. We don't know this for sure with both these guys. I think Antonio Brown's out, but Chris Godwin, we don't know. Tyler Johnson's a pretty good receiver. He's going to step up into a nice little role. They still got some tight ends like OJ Howard if Gronk's out, and Mike Evans. How is Mike Evans not one of the best plays on the entire slate? I don't know how I can not play some of these guys. And then you just play J.D. McKissic on the run back, and you don't have to worry about the rest of these dusty-ass Washington players outside of, obviously, Terry McLaurin's not dusty. You just wish he wasn't 7.6K. But, I just see like this is an easy game I can stack in a trailing script for Washington. That's
Tampa's one. I've been preaching this for like 3 or 4 weeks, but take the easy play instead of trying to get cute in certain spots. And the nice thing about Tampa, they're almost always going to give you a chance. Their floor is high, their ceiling's high, and they're just going to score. They're on a mission this year to score as many touchdowns as they freaking can. And they've been playing in blowouts too. If you do hit a blowout, McKissick's a perfect run back. I agree with JSU all the way around.
Let's do it. I love it. Let's move on. I think we talked enough about this game. Obviously, with injury news later in the week, we'll be able to talk more on it. Let's go on to the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. Talk about a team that broke Dunkle's heart. We're going right back to him, Dunkle. Minus 11.5 here. I mean, Josh Allen, Mike White. Here we go, 47.5 total. What we going to the Bills? What is it?
So 47.5. I actually lean this over, primarily because of my boy, Mike White, or some call him Michael White. I'm not a scout. I'm not a quarterback guy. How can you watch this guy play that position though and not think he passes the eye test? He moves around the pocket extremely well. He frees himself up for space. He throws darts all over the field. He's not sitting there holding on the ball too long. He's not taking bad sets. Now, sure, it's early, small sample, right? Coordinators, I'm sure, will figure him out. But it boggles my mind that guys like him will sit on a depth chart and like nobody will see that type of potential. Maybe a flash in the pan, sure, but it's clear the kid's got talent, and it's just crazy that he's been buried on depth charts for 5 years in the NFL. That's part of the reason why I like the over. First of all, this Buffalo offense, I hate to be a guy that says they're due, but progression has to be coming. This offensive line has looked like shit the last few weeks, and it's not all Josh Allen. I said Josh Allen played poorly, and in fact, he made some bad decisions with the football. But this O-line's been atrocious, and this would be a decent correction spot. The Jets coming into the year were a team that was supposed to get decent pressure on the quarterback. They really haven't been. The D-line was their only good part of their defense, and again, it hasn't shown to be that thus far. And again, if you're the Jets right now, the Jets have proven that they're willing to shoot out with teams with this kid at quarterback. So 47.5 in a spot where I'm not sure the market's reacted enough to how good he's been offensively throwing the football. And Buffalo, this is just a progress to the mean spot. Like for me, most times, like this line should be like 49.5, 50, where Buffalo is a 14.5 point favorite. And, Buffalo's team total is like 32.5, something like that, 33.5, maybe even a little more. It just feels like the market's a bit overreacting to what Buffalo, how poorly they've been playing. And I think you get points here. So, yeah, call it a strong lean at that 47.5 number over.
All right. Dunkle likes the over. Tony, what do you think of the over, and what do you think of the rest of this game?
Yeah, I agree. Buffalo, what in the world happened last week? We make jokes about Urban, but man, last week was a couple shockers, like total shockers you could have never seen coming. It feels like there's one of these weeks every year too where there's just insane upsets, and it's just you don't know where it comes from, you don't know what happened, but I guess you could just say they're grown men. They take pride that people aren't going to just roll over in this league. Even if you're the best team, they're going to compete at least until the end of the year. Then maybe they lay down a little bit. But yeah, this game, I like the over. The Jets have scored plenty of points the last couple of weeks. I don't know. I feel like the public's kind of got on Michael Carter, though. We were on him way before everyone else. Now the price gets a little higher versus a tough Buffalo defense. Not that they showed it last week, but I don't know if I'd go there. One thing to look at, though, is Singletary at 4,700. Played Moss last week, and they just kept giving Singletary all the work. 8 targets, 7 receptions for 43, 6 carries. If Moss somehow sits, he's obvious. But if Moss plays, I still think – he's 4,700. We talked about the other game, Cleveland. Here's a pivot. You could play Singletary off it, and I think Singletary could crush in this spot.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if Moss is out, because he's obviously in concussion protocol, so we won't know about that until later in the week. But if he's out and Singletary is the guy, it's clear that Singletary would be the guy too, right? And we don't have many. We talk about this every week. There's not many running backs in the NFL that get like 75+% of the snaps and work. And he would probably fit that bill if Zach Moss is out. And they'll use him. I mean, they'll use him in the passing game. Good matchup against the Jets too. So plus matchup there for running backs. And I'll be interested to see what the ownership's like if it almost splits between him and Johnson, because people will be on both those guys, Tony. But I wonder if it almost lowers the ownership of both of what they would have been if it was only one. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, if Moss is out, everybody's going to know Singletary got 8. He got 8 targets in the game last game. Everyone's going to know he's a play. So I hope Zach Moss is out, and I'm interested to see what the ownership would be, because you're right. He would be a pivot off of the Cleveland back. So, yeah, I agree with you. What about the passing game? No one's thought Josh Allen. Are we going to Josh Allen? I haven't played him that much, but it's against the Jets. I mean, do we trust the Jets to keep this game going?
That's where the question comes in. Their offense has looked better, though, and you look at their pieces. I mean, their pieces aren't bad. They got some younger guys that are pretty good. I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if they scored some points on Buffalo. I don't love the Jets in this spot, but I wouldn't be surprised if they play well. That's why I like the over with Dunkle.
See, this is the problem with the Jets. You go through their wide receiver chart. Crowder, 79% of the snaps. Mims, 60. Moore, 60. Keelan Cole, 49. Berrios, 21. Smith, 29. They're playing friggin' 6 receivers. I mean, it's a lot. But one encouraging thing I will say is Elijah Moore is ticking up in the snap count. So I think this is something where the young kid that they drafted, he's starting to clearly get more trust in the coaching staff, and he obviously produced last week. Tony, he might be someone that's moving up where maybe, I don't know his price on DraftKings. I don't know if he's really, let's see what he is. He's 4,700. I mean, maybe he's someone, if you're doing a bill stack and you want to run back, maybe he's a Jets guy we could look at as a run back piece if they're trailing, which they probably will be. I don't mind it. He looked really good last week. So, and he's clearly, in my opinion, Mike White's favorite target. So I kind of like that if you're looking in large field tournaments. Yeah. Let's move on though. Yeah. Elijah Moore is a baller. They got to start playing. I agree with you, man. They in the chat, Josh. Yeah, I agree with you. He looked really good. Our boy Holden called it. He gave us the winner last week. So we need a winner for this Thursday.
He broke his streak, though, on Sunday. He broke the streak. He gave me that.
Are we giving him a pass for Zach?
No, because he sucked before that injury.
Okay.
Yeah, I played him, too. I'd be glad to give him his props. I've given him props all season, but he's not. He's definitely taking the L on Zach Moss. Zach Moss was terrible before he got hurt.
He did have a shot to score and failed miserably. It was like a poor attempt too. I couldn't believe he was so bad. I couldn't believe he got me 4 points. I thought when I looked, it was going to say like 1. That's how bad he was. Oh God, poor Tony.
And I'm serious too.
Tony still won money. Poor Tony.
I'm telling the truth though. Like when I looked at the app and saw 4, I was actually happy. That's how bad it was. I was happy to see 4.
Oh God, these running back injuries! I'll tell you right now, they've hurt the last few weeks. I had a little Moss, not as much as you though. I know you had a ton of Moss.
Oh, I played a ton. I did like him too. I love the leverage off of Josh Allen.
Yep, That's just what it is. All right, let's move on. Atlanta Falcons, Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys putting up a massive stinker. This is another game, Tony. You were talking about like things no one saw. I mean, the Denver Broncos, and you laid that type of that was another rough game to watch. I had a ton of Zeke, so I had my eye on that game the entire game. It was rough to see. Cowboys -8 though here against the Falcons at home. 54.5 is a total. So we're finally getting some of these bigger totals on these main slates. We've been lacking the past few main slates with these monster kind of totals. We get a 54.5 one here with Dallas and Atlanta. What do we think of this game, Dunkle?
Yeah. So it really depends on what you think of Dallas, to be honest. I think you could almost not so much rule out Atlanta here, but to me, this handicap is all on your thoughts on Dallas. Do you think their recent loss was them being exposed a bit? Or do you think it's just the NFL and they had a bad game and they'll be fine? Because before that game, this team looked like a legitimate Super Bowl contender. I mean, weapons everywhere offensively. Their defense is forcing turnovers every game. The defense has some issues, but they're able to force turnovers, led by Diggs. But again, it's all on what you make of last week. I'll tell you this. I make of last week as a complete anomaly. To me, that game was every sort of the week-to-week league that is the NFL, and the Cowboys just came out flat. So, yeah, for me, I would lean laying the points with Dallas here, or at least having Dallas go over their team total number, which I guess at 54, them 9.5, it's probably maybe 33.5-ish, 32.5, 34, something like that. Because Atlanta gives up points to everybody. And if you're on the thinking of me, which is that last week's game was just nothing more than an anomaly and an enigma, Dallas rights the ship this week. Dak's another week healthier. Yeah, so I know it's a big number. I lean Dallas. If it's worth anything for anybody in here, if Buffalo did win last week, I was 100% all in on Dallas this week. So this is a spot for me where, yeah, like I said, to me, Dallas wins this game. Do they win it by 10? I guess that depends on, turnovers and whatnot, and if the Falcons really show up offensively. But I think Dallas definitely shows up offensively themselves, and their team total over number, even though it's big, would be a look for me.
Dunkle, I'll put my stamp of approval on it right now. Dallas rights the ship. Dallas rights the ship this week. They're going to win. They're going to beat them by more than 8. This is happening. Atlanta, this is like the best bounce back spot for Dallas they can possibly get, in my opinion. This passing game at home against this Atlanta team, I think they're going to absolutely shred them. I hope people are afraid to play Dak after last week and what he did, because yeah, he looked bad, but I'm gonna go right to him. And I got burned by Zeke a little. I mean, he didn't play well. He obviously got hurt a little bit, but tried to stay in the game, tough it out for the boys, which I appreciate. I respect that, Tony. Like I respect the guy when he, falls on his hip. You can clearly see he's banged up, but he tries to tough it out for us. And he did. He gave us a respectable 11 or whatever it was. but hey, he stayed in the game and he tried. And that's all I respect for. So I'll take it. What do you think of the Cowboys here?
Yeah, Zeke was on that team last week too, the all disappointment team with all the heroes. So I don't know. I think Dallas bounces back in a big way. So I keep talking about wanting to play the easy guy at quarterback, and that might be Dak this week. Like everything that happened last week, they struggled. Now they get an Atlanta team that I think is ripe for the picking too. I mean, Atlanta hasn't impressed me all year. And now you got all the things going on with Ridley. He's not back, right? No, he isn't back. So, I mean, without him, I think Atlanta will struggle to keep the pace a little bit. But Atlanta's a good team to play from behind, too, just because they'll keep throwing. They'll just literally chuck it every down, which could, if they can score some points, turn this into a high-scoring game for Dallas. And Dak, I mean, what's like his downside? Really, the only way I wouldn't see him crushing here is Zeke getting 3 touchdowns or something.
That's it.
Dallas
Tony.
is even a team in this spot, though. I wouldn't say this with many teams where you could play Dak, Zeke, and one pass catcher or something, and you could mop up all this all this Dallas exposure here. And I don't know. I mean, they could score 6-7 touchdowns in this game, and I wouldn't be totally shocked after last week's stinker. The hard part for me is I've been trying to key on these games that I can have a run back. And I'm not sure that's here just because I don't love the Atlanta side. Like maybe a cheap receiver, maybe JSU, you can talk me into somebody. I mean, I'm not playing Russell Gage for $5K though. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this Atlanta team it's a tough team to pick from. That's the one problem, but I agree with you. Like from a safety perspective, it just does seem like Dak would be the guy. Like you just play Dak. You play one or two of his receiving options, which I could count Zeke, I guess, as a receiving option, sure, but play one or two of those guys, and you just move the hell on. I mean, so Dunkle, what's the difference between this Atlanta team this year and last year? See much?
The slight difference is Matt Ryan's been playing better. He had a nice little street stretch there, 4 or 5 weeks, where I think they graded him as like the best passer over a 4-week stretch. I forgot what the week was in the season. But that he hasn't been the same since Ridley went away. So
it kind of like levels out, right?
Yeah.
And the defense has been the same, in my opinion. It's a similar defense to what they had last year. Like it's very similar.
I'd argue it's worse.
It might be, and this is one of the few teams before Dak had the nasty injury. Dak played last year, and he put up a 40 piece on him. The game was 40-39, and Dak threw for like 400 and something yards. He shredded this secondary. The secondary is very similar. They're going to do the same thing. He had 2 receivers go for 100 or more yards. I think it's going to be one of those type of games where Dak throws for a crazy amount of yards. If Atlanta can keep the game close. If they can't, I still think Dak has some upside to have a good fantasy game and get you what you need. But if Atlanta can keep this game close, I think Dak goes for the ceiling performance that we really want in tournaments. And so that's obviously what we're looking for. The problem is I just don't know, outside of just playing Kyle Pitts, who I would even think about. Like Cordero Patterson, I guess, has been really good, Dunkle. I guess 6,600, but he's been good. I guess I could play him.
The good part is he's script independent, right? So
right.
That's the good part with him. I'll tell you what, that 6,900, how is Dak not like the chalk this week? I mean, even if he's not, like once you see his ownership, like say his ownership comes in at like 17%, maybe.
It's like Lamar last week. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, 17%? I mean, just go overweight. Just go 40-50% Dak. What's his? I mean, JSU, what's his floor here? 20? I mean, do we really think Dallas is off? I mean, his floor is 20, and it's probably if Zeke, kidnaps a few touchdowns from him.
Yeah, for sure. So we got Josh in the chat saying AJ Terrell is elite. He's going to limit Cooper or Lamb. Well, I can make the argument that Cooper and Lamb are both elite, and they can beat any elite player on the other side of them. And I don't factor that in, and I don't know if Terrell's been better than last year. That's for sure, because last year he was awful. So yeah, he's been better, but I still don't think that he's just going to shut down Cooper or Lamb. So it doesn't really matter though, because one of them is going to have a good game. Doesn't even matter which one it is. Both of them might have good games though. Like it might just be both of them. They might both.
Here's the thing, JSU. Like this Falcons defense hasn't really played any offense. I mean, so they play the Saints with no quarterback. They play the Panthers with an injured Sam Darnold, I think. Dolphins, no Tua. Tua played, and then Tua threw 4 touchdowns against his team.
Well, perfect. You're making my case for Dak being the easiest play on the slate, then I guess.
The Jets, they play Washington, who has playmakers on offense, and they give up 34 there. The Giants, Brady hangs 48 on them. The Eagles hung 32 on. To me, when this team's played a good offense, they've struggled. And yeah, sure, they've looked good recently, but look who they've played. I mean, they're going to get a real offense this week. And
that's the best point. I think that's the best point of the whole thing is who they've even played. And I know who they played, but that didn't even cross my head. That's a really good point to bring up. Josh in the chat says, I said limit a little, bro. So never mentioned shutdown. My bad, Josh. My bad. He did not say shut them down. He did say limit a little. So those were his words. My bad. I still don't factor that in, though. Like, I wouldn't be afraid to roster either one of them, even with a decent cornerback or a good cornerback across them, because I just see Dak as an elite quarterback, a really good quarterback. and I'm not afraid when I have good quarter. If I had like Daniel Jones with a good receiver, I'd be a little more worried. That's where I'd be like, okay, maybe I put a little more stock into it. Just to give you some context into what I'm actually thinking when you say like, oh, he's got a little bit of a tougher matchup. That's how I think about it. When I have a good quarterback and a really skillful receiver, I don't even think about the matchup unless it's like Jalen Ramsey, like one of the 2 or 3 elite cornerbacks in the NFL. Like I won't even think about it. Tony, we've been talking about this Dallas game the whole time.
I swear I was just laughing because, I had an issue with the kid, but I come back, I'm like, I wonder what game they're on. I hear JSU still talking about this game. I was up there like 10 minutes, it felt like.
I think it's the nut game, dude. I think it's just the easiest spot on the slate.
I was laughing to myself, though, before you said that.
Forget about the run back. Just Texas hedge and play Dallas's defense with the Dallas staff.
Just go all in. Say, I'm going all in.
I swear you guys both talked about it before I did, too. So, like, when I went up, I thought we were done with the game.
Tony, you know that I could talk about one game for like
That's what made it so
minutes.
funny, though.
All right, we'll move on. You can get more of Big T's Dallas thoughts on the Wood Show on Sunday. All the shows we do, 9 a.m., 10 a.m. We got the Off the Chalk at 9 a.m. or 8:45 a.m. Eastern time. And then 10 a.m. is the Wood Show with our boy Big T, who Holden, and then we do the Up to Lock show at 11:30 Eastern time with me, Dunkle, and Holden, bringing you guys all the news and last minute questions. That's for premium members, though. So if you want to get in, obviously RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off your first monthly subscription. Don't forget to hit that like button if you're just tuning in. Let's move on, though. We got the New Orleans Saints and the Tennessee Titans. Titans -2.5 here. 44.5 is the total. Titans coming off a really, really impressive performance against the Rams. The defense looked great. I swear Vrabel, Tony, I think I said this to you before. I swear Vrabel, just like whenever that guy gets in primetime games against really good teams where his team looks like they're the clear like dog, they play really well. And especially even the defense plays better than what it's supposed to. They just play up. I just feel like it happens all the time. And you got that case last where the Rams were like the shoo-in pick. Maybe the Bills against the Jags were like for sure number 1, but the Rams were right up there, I felt like, in people's eyes, where they were just for sure going to dominate and win. And they got smacked. Matthew Stafford had a tough time. What do you think of the Titans? I mean, are they for real still, even without Derrick Henry? Is it just the coaching staff and that defense playing above their heads for some of these games? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still. You said me, right?
I did. I threw you off.
I was getting that look that maybe it wasn't me, but yeah, I'm still not a believer, but I could easily be wrong. I just don't buy into it, especially now that you're going to trust a guy like Adrian Peterson for meaningful carries. I don't buy it, but they have beat 4 straight really good teams, and I could just be wrong about it. I'm not that high. My dream for this week would be New Orleans announcing Taysom as the starting quarterback versus Tennessee. I would absolutely love it. I'm guessing they won't because for some reason they didn't last week. I don't really know why they would change here, but I think they should. I think Taysom is a better fit with this talent level. And if he's in there at 5,200, that will definitely be tasty for me. Even though everyone knows I'm the Taysom guy, this week, though, would be just the total nut matchup. I would love it. You could play some of these cheap receivers with him. But if he is out, I mean, not by out, I mean not starting at quarterback, I think this game just isn't very good. I mean, you look at it, I think it could play very slow with how both of these teams like to play. But I don't have a strong lean on the game, though. I guess New Orleans. I mean, 4 straight big wins for Tennessee. Now Tennessee's only favored by a field goal at home. I guess I do like the New Orleans side. This could be a teaser game, too, by Sunday. I think the spread's 3 right now, but it could possibly go down.
Yeah, I forgot the news too. Alvin Kamara got held out of practice with a knee issue today. So obviously,
Do we think it's anything now?
I don't. It just kind of popped up, Tony. So I don't know. It could have been just a Veterans Day off, But normally they'll just say like it was a knee issue for sure. So I don't know. It's Wednesday though, so a lot of times veterans get off days on Wednesday. It could easily just be that, but I'm just saying that's news we definitely want to stay up on because it did just kind of pop up. So check on that. Dunkle, what do you think of this game? Assuming everyone's in.
Yeah. So I had the Titans team total over against the Rams 21.5, and yes, that landed. I felt extremely fortunate. I know you guys hate when I do this type of stuff, but I felt extremely fortunate to cash that. There was 14 points.
He's going to start talking down his wins now, JSU.
There was 14 points scored in 30
Talk about how lucky he got.
There was,
I want to be
Dunkle. So lucky winning all my games last week.
I want to just live in Dunkle's shoes for a second. Just think about all the times where he just downplays his success. Like, oh God, I want to do that.
I promise you, I'm going to land the plane relative to this game. They were handed 3 touchdowns, 2 rough in the passing, pass with the penalties late in the game as well, which gave them a touchdown. Why it's important is because to me, I'd be very content to just pound every week the Titans team total without Derrick Henry because I feel the market's over adjusting to what they believe his value is versus what it actually is. Like that line movement said that he was worth 3.5 points. And I'm sorry, he's a great player, but there is no quarterback in the league, no non-quarterback in the league that's worth more than like 2 points to a line. I'd argue maybe Henry was worth 2, certainly not 3.5. Look, the Titans averaged 3.5 yards per play last week. And they won. They won primarily because the Rams just gave them the game, which is kind of tilting as it relates to how you want to target this game. Because now you're going to get the Titans number. It's going to be the similar number, 44.5 total. Their number is going to be like 24.5-ish. I don't know. They might get over it. I guess they got a ton of playmakers. Aside from Derrick Henry. But the Saints are just another issue as well altogether on offense. They looked like a mess last week. They started scoring a bunch of points late when Atlanta went into like prevent, I guess. But before then, they just looked like a complete mess. Look, the total's low. I'd still prefer it to be lower. I mean, I'm sorry, higher than 44.5. I'll stay away here, but I really wanted to bet the Titans team total over until markets correct themselves. But I was very displeased with what I saw from this offense against the Rams. They won. Great. Kudos to them. Look at the advanced numbers. Look at how they performed in that game offensively. It was abysmal. If they do anything like that again, it's going to be tough to imagine this team wins games. They likely make some adjustments, but I'll stay away from the Titans for at least the next few weeks until I see some more substance.
I agree with you. I want to stay away from honestly both these teams. From a DFS side, I hate targeting Saints games. We know what they want to do, right? They want to run. They want it's just always those boring games right now. Trevor Siemian, if Taysom's the quarterback, I still maybe, but I still probably just want to stay away from it either way. Titans, like JJ said, weren't impressive offensively. It was really their defense, in my opinion.
Taysom's going to destroy this team if he gets a chance. I can't wait.
Yeah, but is he going to?
Yeah.
You're saying
I was so displeased with Tennessee. If he does start, I would be willing to.
Oh, he's going to crush for us. That's the inside tip I'm giving on Wednesday night.
Take that hook.
Okay.
Take the hook with the Saints.
Just get him in there, though. Don't freaking start Trevor Siemian over him. Come on, Sean Payton. I've always had your back, Sean Payton. Don't do it this week.
You like Taysom at 5.2K if he starts?
Love it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'll listen to Big T.
And you only want to play one receiver though with him, like probably Deontay Harris, like I keep talking about.
They get inside the 5. He ain't handing the ball off to nobody.
No, I can't wait. Please name him a starter, Sean Payton.
That is the best part, Dunkle. When they get into the red zone, he's pretty much a running back. Like you can call him quarterback. He is the running back. Like just give him the ball and get out of his way. He's gonna run through people.
For 2 straight years, I played that dude on Showdown at 200 min priced. He would get a carry every game for like 4 showdowns, and they would never score, and people still thought he was like the worst play ever. Just It was a great time to be alive.
All his carries are always high leverage, though. So, all the touches are high leverage. Like, every play they designed for him is always with a big play in mind, whether it's a 50-yard
touchdown every time.
Well, in all those runs, they're all like when they're close to the goal line and they're trying to score and they're getting him the football when it's time to score. That's got to tell you something about him and what the coach thinks of him if they're giving him the football in those situations. But we'll see. We'll
make
see
him
what
the
happens.
starter this week, please.
If you say it 10 more times,
I'm talking it into existence. You taught me that. Yeah. You talk about what you want in life.
Yeah, speak it into existence.
Maybe get the best of both worlds, Tony. Kamara's out, and they start him.
I mean, that would actually be a dream because I hate Kamara when Taysom's in there. I had that mistake that one Thanksgiving game where, I mean, people aren't going to care about this, but it is a story about how they relate to each other if they did play. I learned my lesson plenty of times that year, but on Thanksgiving, Taysom had the 2 touchdowns and he was 5% owned. But so I had all the best teams, but I had Kamara with him everywhere, which seemed obvious. And he was the reason I didn't end up winning because they just correlate so poorly. And people will always play him because Taysom's cheaper. Kamara's the best weapon in the offense. They just don't correlate, though. So it doesn't matter that. I'd rather just pay half price for Deontay Harris.
I remember this because I'm pretty sure we fought about this.
Yeah, I mean,
because I'm pretty sure I was trying to tell you that they just didn't fit well together.
No,
with what
at all.
They wanted.
And it's really hard not to put him in there though, because Kamara will always fit, and it's you want to do it, but then at the end you end up regretting it. So this week, I would fade Kamara if I was playing Taysom. I would.
Yeah, 100% agree. They do not fit. The short passing game just isn't there either for Kamara. So not only does Taysom steal goal line touches, which is what really Tony's talking about, but on top of it, this was why I didn't really like it. He doesn't throw those check down. Drew Brees would just, trouble, check down.
Because he's going to run it.
Yeah, he's going to run it. He's going to take off at first sign. He's not going to check down. Drew Brees, those type of quarterbacks, they can't friggin' move. That's why he's throwing it to Kamara, because Kamara can catch it and run. Taysom can just tuck it and run. It's way easier for him. It's safer. He doesn't have to worry about throwing the football, which is kind of funny because he is a quarterback. That would be your job. But, hey, works for him. We got Jason Robinson in the chat. What's up, Jason? He says, have I missed the JSU's you-know-what rant from you-know-who? Jason, sorry. I promised last week I would not rant on said person, and I've held true, even though Tony in the beginning of the show tried to get me to do it. He wanted me to do it. He tried to, but he failed. All right? He failed, and I'm going to own him the rest of the year. He can try and trick me all he wants.
You got so lucky, though, because now you're acting like you would have talked about it, but this would have been one of the weeks you would have had to be silent anyways.
Oh, I would have still yelled.
Go to this next game.
All right, let's talk about
Dunkle, keep him in line here. We're going to be on here until next week if you keep him talking like this.
Let's go to the Lions and the Steelers here. Steelers.
Yeah, this is the game we need right now.
42.5. Come on. Give me the winner here, Big T. Who's the winner in the Steelers?
I'm giving you the winner is to just skip right by this game with the exception of, this is going to be so the last 2 weeks we haven't had many Wong teasers. I haven't even put them on the book side. This week, though, this is the third or fourth game already that looks great Wong-wise. Pittsburgh's not going to lose to Detroit at home because what is the spread right now? 7.5, 8.5? Yeah, perfect spot for a Wong. But DFS, I'm going to speed it along because there's definitely not anything here for me DFS-wise. Maybe Deontay, if anybody, coming off that stinker, but I'm not going to do it.
No Najee Harris?
Definitely not. Pittsburgh's O-line is so bad.
I agree with you.
Whew.
I agree with you. And isn't it telling that what he's done with this terrible offensive line? I mean, it's insane what he's done. The numbers he's put up with that bad offensive line is unbelievable because his numbers should be way better. It's crazy what he's done performance-wise with these numbers. Dunkle, is this just a quick pass game for you from a betting side?
So I have to dig deeper into this game because the Detroit Lions team total under has been a bet I've made quite frequently, but I've made it when their number is 20 or higher. They've hung a 16.5 number here, which feels really low when you put into consideration if the Steelers go up a few scores, and the Lions have shown a ton of backdoorness to them late in games. I don't like this offense, but I thought that the Steelers just magically made a 180 defensively in that game against the Bears. Like, it was just weird. Like, credit to Fields, who played well in the second half, but just weird. They weren't getting any pass rush without TJ Watt. Like, no one's getting to the quarterback. I think TJ Watt had all their sacks. So I'll wait and see on this game because it would be the first time all year I would bet a Detroit Lions team total over. But that has more to do with the number they're hanging. They're hanging a 16.5 number, which is very doable for Detroit in this spot. But I'll wait and see on it.
All right. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing in this game besides Najee. It's like you either play Najee or just move on with the rest of your day. Unless
just real quick, Detroit looks like they'll once again be a somewhat trophy. Every week, why do people line up to bet this team? They're the worst. They're arguably the worst team in the NFL. They're
Look how good the
win
Jets look. They definitely might be the worst team. I mean, they probably are the worst team. Who's even in comparison with them?
Well, Houston's in comparison.
Houston. I forgot about Houston. They're definitely in comparison.
I think Miami's awful. I think Jacksonville's there. There are a bunch of teams right there.
Don't be going back down that Jacksonville alley. Stay off Jacksonville.
I just put them there. I didn't say nothing about the head coach. I just put their asses there.
Imagine letting backyard football Jalen Hurts throw 44 on you. I mean.
Nope, I can't.
So
I cannot.
I mean, but Pittsburgh's all line's trash. This could be. I mean, overall, like I said, I think that Detroit's team total is live. But do I think they're going to win? Absolutely not.
I agree. Delrose Sports says, "Who wins in an arm wrestling match? JSU or Big T?" I'm going to put the money on Big T. I think he's got good leverage too. He's taller than me. He's got like long. Yeah, I think Big T wins. I'm not a big arm wrestler either, so I think
Can't say I've arm wrestled too much in my life either.
Well,
it's got to be an older guy. Like, old people used to arm wrestle. It's probably an old. How old are you? Whoever asked that.
Yeah, how old are you? That's a good question. Actually, he probably is older.
Also, dudes who arm wrestle jerk off a ton. That's why they have.
That's what JSU was actually talking about me there. He was subtweeting me.
That's why they have so much. That's why they have so much pop in their forearms.
I told you Big T would own me. I mean, I said it. He would own me. Oh God! All right, let's go. See, this is what we do. You chat, you get me sidetracked. Hit the like button while you get me sidetracked. Chat. Damn you! Still give us your age though. Seriously. Oh, he's 40. He's 40, Tony. So not that old.
Not that old. That's my age bracket these days. So
yeah. All right,
with you, buddy.
Oh God, we got to talk about this team. I'm going to mute myself after Jacksonville Jaguars, Indianapolis Colts.
Yes.
Colts -10 here. 47.5 is the total. I'm going to say one thing on this game. Carson Wentz gets the W, then has his child. I love it. Go Carson Wentz. I'm a big Carson Wentz fan this week. Maybe the only week I'll ever be a Carson Wentz fan. Tony, what do you think of your boy?
I mean, so people know I'm already on the bandwagon, but I told JSU 3 weeks ago, I've been touting it. I think the Colts could win the AFC. So I know people make fun of me. I think they're built for a run if they can get in, and I think they're going to get in because I looked at their schedule. They've only got a few tough games. They've blown a couple games they should have won versus better teams, Baltimore, Tennessee, I think were two of them. But I think they're way better and getting healthier up front where I like them. And then you can get a crazy price on them right now, like 40, 50 to 1 to win the AFC, probably 80 to 1 to win the Super Bowl or something. And if they can somehow get in, they got the pieces. I will say that this week against Jacksonville, you have to have a little interest. I mean, Wentz, Pittman, Jonathan Taylor, Dunkle's favorite man, Jonathan Taylor, looks like a stud this year. But I think I wouldn't be scared to run it back with one Jacksonville either. I mean, you got a bunch of guys you can throw in that. Marvin Jones, James Robinson, obviously, if he plays, Arnold, Agnew, for whatever reason. Maybe he's got pictures on JSU's boy, Urban. He might have some pictures on him, but he's getting some extra run right now. I mean, Indy's defense has got exposed at times. I think Indy will for sure score, into the 30s easy in this game. So I like the Colts in this spot with a little run back too.
Yeah, I hope you all loved playing Jamal Agnew last week for your nice 6.8 fantasy points. Good play. Just imagine playing Jamal Agnew for that much. Just getting him the football and absolutely terrible. Dunkle, don't get me started here. Just talk about this game.
So I've conceded the fact that Jonathan Taylor is a good running back. I mean, he had a severe slump last year and then built his confidence late in the year. And then this year kind of started slow again. And now, between the tackles, he looks super patient. He just looks like a whole different back. And he's obviously big enough to shoulder loads as well. And it's good for a guy like Carson Wentz who needs somebody good, behind him, because look, that's the issue with Carson Wentz, right? The dude just legitimately blacks out in at least a few plays a game. And will there be an issue here? I mean, I don't know. This is such a bad spot for Jacksonville. You get that huge emotional win. If you're Urban Meyer, he probably was finger banging chicks in the bar, after that win. I just figure that's their Super Bowl, right? For that locker room. If you're Urban Meyer, you're like, guys, yeah, sure, we've had some stumbling, but we just beat the best team in the AFC. They didn't score a touchdown against us. So it's a good momentum win for them. Do they carry it into here? I don't think so. And I think that the Colts likely roll here. So I'm with Tony. Now, granted, it goes without saying, I am a bit of a Wentz truther myself. So I am rooting for the guy as well. But to me, Jacksonville Lightning going to strike 2 weeks in a row. I don't really think so. So I'm Colts for me as well.
Yeah, Carson Wentz. I think some people are going to roll him out there in DFS for sure. 5.9 on DraftKings. Definitely in play. I guess the question is, do you think that Jacksonville can do some damage offensively, even in garbage time, to keep up? Probably, right? They probably could do some damage to keep up, to keep Wentz, moving the football. So that's good. And Jonathan Taylor, I think, Dunkle, is this guy just like a late starter to the season? He did it to start the rookie season, where it kind of took him some time. The first couple games of the year, he looked like he was struggling a little, but he's been great the last 4 or 5 games. I mean, he has looked so good.
Yeah, it goes to the point that you can't marry a take. I mean,
yeah.
Jonathan Taylor was bad. It wasn't like he was good and playing bad. He was bad. He was running into his own lineman on multiple plays.
Dunkle, I saw what you saw. We were saying the same thing on here every week. But one thing, Jonathan Taylor did go into one of the best spots with those offensive linemen that they have, right? So that was another thing we were hammering him for, was he had good offensive line play, and he was running into them constantly in the beginning of last season. And then after the COVID situation with him, I think it was in the middle of the season, he comes back and he looks phenomenal. He looks like a different guy, and he's carried it in to this year. But I'm saying he looks really good right now. So, I mean, 8-1 for Jonathan Taylor. I mean, he's priced up with Dalvin Cook, Kamara, McCaffrey. He's right in the mix. And you could make the case he may be the best play out of all those. That's wild to me that he's gone that far since we've talked about him last year.
And not to continue the knob-sobbing fest with Jonathan Taylor, but he's definitely turned himself into a much better running back in the NFL. And kudos to him. And this offense has been looking good. And can they right the ship? Because I think Tony's right. There are a dark horse to win their division. And of course, even a real dark horse to still win the AFC. That'd be something. But I think this is just such a roll Colts spot. Jags do it twice in a row. Kudos to them, but I don't think it's going to happen.
All right, Tony, we're into the 4:00 games, baby. We're almost home. We're holding strong. I love when JSU does the little head shake when Big T says something about Jacksonville head coach. You know who? I'll tell you right now. It gets me. It does irk me a little. Tony knows how to push my buttons. This game's good, though. I like this game here. Minnesota Vikings, LA Chargers. I think it's going to be a good football game. Two solid teams. -3 Chargers are the favorites here. 53 is the total. I'm assuming this is going to be a pretty popular spot from a DFS side with a few different players. I mean, we just saw Justin Herbert come off a monster game where, outside of Lamar, Justin Herbert was right next to Lamar as the best QB on the slate, and he was extremely low owned. I think I saw him in tournaments at 3-4% owned, which was wild, but he did struggle weeks before, so I guess it made some sense. Now I expect him to get a little more ownership. Not a terrible matchup here against Minnesota. But yeah, I think this is going to be a good game overall. Dunkle, what do you see in this game?
I mean, I think legitimately you're on drugs if you think you have an edge betting this specific game, because the Chargers, I'd argue, have been one of the most Jekyll and Hyde teams in the NFL this season. A team that gets up for games you don't expect them to, a team that hasn't gotten up for games they should. This is a game they should get up for. They have absolutely no home field advantage, though. And Minnesota, another double-digit lead blown, and goes without saying, Vikings. I don't understand. Zimmer has been a mess as a head coach. The play calling's been atrocious. Cousins is good enough to make this team 8-8. He's not good enough to take this team any further, especially deep into the playoffs. To me, there's too much variance with both these squads. I mean, is Herbert now going to turn it back on, and now we're going to get the early season version of Herbert again? Is Minnesota going to, even if Minnesota gets a lead, how does it feel safe? I think they've led multiple games by 2 touchdowns and they've lost. To me, there's just too many arrows going both ways for this game. And if you argue, well, there'll be a ton of points, 53 is a massive number. If Minnesota gets a lead, they're likely going to concede it. And if the Chargers get a lead, they might concede it. So I'll stay away entirely. Should be a fun game to watch. Should be a big DFS game, but no bets for me in this one.
Tony, what are we seeing here? I think 2 pretty solid offenses. I think that Minnesota, you can argue, has a good offense when it comes to the Chargers, who struggle to stop the run. And obviously the Vikings team, they want to run the football, then play action pass down the field. So I think it's a good setup where the Vikings can score on the Chargers. I think the Chargers, obviously, Dunkle said it, it's been kind of hit and miss with Herbert a little bit this year, but I do think he can put up points against the Vikings. So what do we think here from a DFS side?
Oh, to start, is Dalvin for sure going to play?
He came out and said that he's going to play this week.
That story's not going to impact him at all?
Not as of now. I mean, okay. Who knows? But yeah, he said he's going to play. So
what if it's not up to him though?
Well, I think the NFL, they said they can't. They're still gathering facts.
Facts.
Who knows how long that's going to actually take? You know what I mean? So that could take a few weeks.
Yeah, I hope it wasn't true, because man, those texts were brutal with him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, whoever starts for Minnesota, if it's Dalvin Cook, if he gets fully cleared, obviously we don't know. He might be my favorite running back play of the week. Obviously, if he's out, Madison's 4,500, and we go right back to the all-in well there. But if Dalvin's in, I think he's the best play of the week at running back. I mean, 8K. Chargers can't stop the run. It gives you options to run it back to. I don't even think you need to full stack this game, but if you play Dalvin and then play any of these pass catchers, Mike Williams is finally cheap because he's had a few bad games. I mean, 6,600 for Mike Williams against this Minnesota team. big time upside there. But I think I lean more of a min stack because I don't think I'll play Herbert in this game. I know I won't play Cousins in this game. No way I would do that when I like Dalvin. It just doesn't make sense. So yeah, more of a mini stack game and teasers. Whoever's the dog, which is Minnesota. I love Minnesota as a teaser. I know it's 3 right now. I'm okay teasing this even at 3, just because I think Minnesota's in a really good spot to run the ball right down the Chargers' throat. And yeah, I like the running game from Minnesota the most.
Tony, you said one of my favorite plays on this entire slate that I don't think anyone's going to play. It's Mike Williams week.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's Mike Williams week. We're getting
6,600 too. Finally,
6,600. I guarantee you, his projection is not going to be as good as a lot of guys in that range. And I love him this week. Give me him against friggin' Brashad Breeland, Dantzler, whoever they roll out there on the outside. He's going to eat him up and spit him out. He's just going to dominate whoever they put up. Just Mike Williams, love him this week. I agree with you. Dalvin Cook is probably my favorite if he plays. I'm so pissed right now. DraftKings did the thing. Alexander Madison's 4,500, Tony.
I don't understand why when it's a team like this, I get it with all teams, it's not the same. But with this team, I would literally not even mind if Madison was the same price. Like, just make them both 8K. That way, if he's out,
be at least like 6K all the time? Like, and then,
I mean, he should never be 4,500.
How is there not somebody like a manual process of sorts? Because assuming it's all automated, right? How is there not a manual check on certain players where you're just like, okay, whoa. Nobody's going to play this dude at 4,500 if he doesn't start. And if he starts, everybody's going to play him. So,
literally everybody. And if you don't, you're just crazy.
What's his ownership if Dalvin Cook's out? Like
at 4,500 versus, I mean, I think it could literally be close to 100.
In cash, he's got to be 80.
No, in cash, he's 100%. Like in cash, if he's not 100%, I'm stunned.
In tournaments, he's got to be upwards of 60, 70 too. I mean, there's no way. He's 4,500. Like at 4,500, you don't even need anything to happen almost.
You need the 10. You need that 10 burger.
Yeah, I just hope Cook's in because I don't think Cook will be that popular either. And I love that spot.
Well, the best part about Cook is he's in a range with like 6 other really good running backs, like from a name. McCaffrey, Kamara, Taylor, Najee, Eckler. Those are good running backs, honestly. So you're going to be picking. I think a lot of people it's going to level the ownership of all those guys. So I hope he's going to be lower owned. I love him. Mike Williams.
One final thing I'll say is I think the Vikings are 1-4 in games that are decided by 4 points or less. Their lone win was the Lions in that same scenario. The Chargers, however, in close games are like one of the best teams in the NFL. So if you're talking late in the game, definitely. I mean, I'm a Vikings homer, but give me the Chargers if this is a close game late. Chargers have been closing games out. Vikings can't close games out.
Yeah, I agree with you there. All right, let's move on. Carolina Panthers and the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals minus 10.5 here. Big favorites. 44.5 is the total. Sam Darnold's going to be out. It looks like 4 to 6 weeks with the old shoulder injury. The old we're putting you on the shoulder injury. 4 to 6 weeks. Get out of our lives. Sam Darnold. PJ Walker, I guess, would be the next guy up. Dunkle, what do we think of the PJ Walker-led Carolina Panthers?
Yeah, I like PJ Walker. He made a spot start last year, I believe, or a few spot starts last year. I like the kid. He's got legs and throws a good football too. He dominated. Was the XFL? What did he win MVP in? Was the XFL?
It was like 3 or 4 games in the XFL, whatever they played, and he was like by far the best.
He was like the only quarterback that wasn't literally the worst person you've ever seen in your life at throwing the football.
Wasn't he throwing a Donald Parham too?
I think it was
like those two guys were just like dominating the XFL pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope the kid plays well. I liked him. I think he was paired up with Robbie Anderson at Temple together. Look, like I said, I hope he plays well. It's tough to say though. This Carolina team has really gone off the rails since their start. McCaffrey's a little healthier, I guess, right? He's probably going to play now, but he played a decent amount of the last week. This number seems big, though, doesn't it? I mean, sure, I'm not saying Arizona doesn't warrant the spread, but it just feels big. But I can't line up to bet Carolina here. This team's just like going in the complete wrong direction. I mean, that's why the line is as big as it is, I guess. But I think Arizona's also kind of been, oddly coasting around a bit. That was an impressive game from Colt McCoy last week, and that off they just felt like they scored every possession against the Niners. I'll stay away here. There's really no angle I like. I can't bet the total here. Man, I mean, Carolina's team total's got to be like 16.5 or 15.5, but I'll avoid that as well. Just an ugly game. I'll pass entirely.
Yeah, Tony, I would assume from a DFS side, we're going to see, I mean, Chase Edmonds is doubtful or out. I think he has a high ankle sprain, so he's going to be out. I would think that James Conner's going to have, some ownership here. Was the man last week, did really well. I assume he's the main ball carrier for this team. He's already the, goal line back anyways, but I would assume 6.3K. He's going to get some ownership. What do we think of him against this Carolina team?
Yeah, he's the interesting spot of the week because I know for sure these cash players are going to end up playing him. I mean, 6,300, 10-point favorite against Carolina. He's the type of spot I don't mind fading, though. It's still James Conner. He's got freaking 4 touchdowns the last 2 weeks, I think. He's got how many on the year? 5, 6, 8, 10.
Doesn't he lead the
11.
NFL?
He's got 11 touchdowns, so he could just be the guy that scores. There's always 1 or 2 guys every year that just like somehow score every week randomly. Like last week, Edmonds gets hurt right away. The week before, they somehow score like 4 times on the ground and stuff. So I don't know. I could see myself fading James Conner by Sunday, though. He's definitely the type of guy I wouldn't mind fading. It will be interesting to see, though, if like Cook was out and we'd have a 4,500 guy, what it would do to roster construction, because you don't really see times where people spend down at both running back spots. There's always a spend up. And speaking of spend ups, I don't hate McCaffrey. 8,400. I mean, no one's going to play. We did get a little sample last week, 14 carries, 5 targets. If he's going to be low owned, I could see like an eruption spot for McCaffrey against Arizona, playing from behind where he gets 10 targets or something and catches them, breaks one to the house, has a monster game, completely low owned. I don't hate that at all here.
Yeah, I agree with you. He played 49% of the snaps last week. I would love if they're going to let the reins off McCaffrey and he's going to be low owned on top of it. I could see it. I could see it for sure. We'll have to see on that. Want to see some ownership on him too. That'll definitely be something I'll wait on, though. And I agree with you kind of on James Conner, where, man, he's been good this year, though. I think he leads the NFL in touchdowns, like overall.
Yeah,
going through 9 weeks of the season, I don't think any person in the world would have thought after 9 weeks James Conner would lead the NFL in touchdowns. But here we are, and James Conner has. And he's done it in like a secondary role too, which is kind of wild, but that's just how it is. Tony, if Kyler was in, would it make you like Conner more or less? How do you
definitely make
that?
Me like him less, but I don't know. I mean, the ownership might get a little less too. I don't know. Yeah, I would definitely like him less, though. I would like to fade even more if Kyler's in. I doubt Kyler plays, though. I don't know. They look good enough without him.
He said he said he anticipates playing.
So he must just not be that hurt then, maybe. They're just – if he plays, they can't be too worried about it.
But I swear he said something like this last week, and then they held him out.
Yeah.
Right?
I thought he was going to have a chance to play until late in the week last week. I kind of feel like he sits this week, even though they say he's in. I don't know. Maybe I'm totally wrong. I mean, we're doing this show early in the week.
That was him who said it. I'm just reading the quote that says he anticipates playing Sunday.
So they still only have 1 loss, right? Like they're whatever they are, 8-1 or something. Mm-hmm. Like the record is cruising. The only thing that could derail this team is what we say every week on this show, and Kyler gets hurt. if you're facing a team like Carolina, you should be able to beat without him. I don't know. I kind of think he doesn't play, but it doesn't impact me all that much either way. Anyways, I'm not going to bet this game that much. I don't like the 10 number. If I was going to, it'd be Carolina, but I don't know. It doesn't impact too much for me here.
Yeah, I mean, outside of James Conner and maybe McCaffrey, I don't see much from a fantasy like DFS standpoint outside of those two guys. So we can move it on. We got 2 more games left. Let's talk the Eagles and the Broncos. Broncos maybe the most surprising team of the entire week last week with the way they handled the Cowboys. Was pretty impressive. And man, Javonte Williams just rambling on through people again, just carrying multiple guys, shedding tacklers. Ridiculous. If you didn't watch, go look at the Javonte Williams highlight from last week where he was just running through dudes, carrying people. It was ridiculous. But now they get an Eagles team. Eagles have struggled against the run. Denver looked good. They're at home this week, -3, 45.5 is the total. What do we think here, Dunkle? Teddy Bridgewater, Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, so I actually really like this to go under at 45, but I might wait on this because I assume over money is going to come in here, or more over money will come in. Yeah, so I know Jalen Hurts can't throw against decent defenses. If there's one thing Denver does decent, it's play defense. They have a bunch of studs all over that defense. I know they lost Von Miller. They still have just a lot of studs on this defense. And on the Denver side, like, how's Denver going to move the ball? I liked Bridgewater a lot coming into this year. I thought, very smart quarterback and does what he needs to do from a game management perspective. But this team's also off a big win as well, where you could get a flatter version of them for sure. I just think, to me, that this is a typical rock fight where it plays in the trenches, and Jalen Hurts struggles to complete passes downfield. And so call it a strong lean at 45, and I'm hoping I'll get a better number on it, 45.5-ish. But yeah, I'm going to like this under. I'm not sure if you guys caught it at the end of I think it was the end of the first half of the Denver game last week, where they were deciding if they should throw a Hail Mary or kick like a 70-yard field goal. And they ended up kicking a 70-yard field goal because I don't think they felt Bridgewater could reach the end zone. They were at like the 50, and I don't think he could reach the end zone from there. But anyway, yeah. So I strong lean.
All right, Tony. What about
what was
you?
What was the game last week that I watched where they kicked the long field goal to win it, and it looked like it hit the crossbar?
Oh yeah,
but it actually came like 12 yards short. It was just like an optical illusion.
Was that Monday?
Was that the Bears game?
Yeah, they kicked like a 60-yard field goal to win it or tie it.
Was that the Bears game, Tony?
It could have been, but it looked everyone thought it hit the crossbar, and then they showed that side view, and it was literally like 12 yards short. It hit like at the end zone and bounced.
I don't know. I think it's the Bears game, but I might be wrong.
It could have been the Bears. That sounds right. I'm sure the chat will tell us.
Well, what do you think of?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this game is the easiest pass of the week. I mean, yeah, Javonte was awesome again. Me and you are both – I followed you onto the wagon. You liked him first, but the problem's the same we've had all year.
That's right. Plenty of room, buddy. Plenty of room on the bandwagon.
The dude played so good, but Gordon takes half the carries. They had a perfect script. He still only gets us 11 points. It's like it's just so frustrating that –
Javonte's so good.
One of these weeks, it's going to be – I just hope it's like a tricky spot where Gordon's out, but it's not just dead obvious to play Javonte. Maybe they're facing whoever it is. I don't even care. Give us a good defense. Give us someone where it looks bad on paper somehow. Either that or they rule out Melvin super late or something.
The Bills or something. Give us like one of the best defenses. I don't care. I'll play him.
Or give us like a really cupcake matchup and somehow get him priced up to like where he's like $8K or something crazy to where we could have them all to ourselves that week. But again, this week, I don't see anything here. Denver coming off a huge win. Philly still, I don't believe they can throw the ball. I don't see any DFS plays, and I don't really see a reason to even do anything with this game.
Yeah, I think if you want one DFS play, I think Jerry Jeudy who is still underpriced, in my opinion, at 5.3K. They clearly wanted to get him the football. They did that last week against Dallas. I think Philly, with the way they play, that too high safety, it could mean a lot of, underneath looking. And Jerry Jeudy's a really good route runner. It's just really good, can get him the ball and then make plays from there. I think it does set up kind of well for him. And at 5.3K, I think he's an okay play. But other than that, I agree with you. Not much else I want, and I will fade the rest of this game. Let's go on to the last game of the night, or of the slate, that we'll talk about here. And it is the Seattle Seahawks and the Green Bay Packers. Packers favorites here at home, -3.5. Got a 49 total, and I think we could possibly see two quarterbacks coming back this week. Russell Wilson already did his whole live video, I'm coming back. Why not just tweet out hey guys, I'll be playing this up?
Because he's the corniest dude in all of sports.
Cool. That's why.
What did he call himself in the video? Mr. What?
I have no idea. What did he say?
Him with the, and I want to be clear because I am a Russell Wilson guy, but this recent shit's been weird. Him in the cast, as if him with the cast with the thumbs up, dude, you had foot surgery. Relax. He was this guy's better days to come. Bro, chill. You had foot surgery. You'll be fine. You'll get through it in 4 weeks. We'll see you again. And now he does this.
I love his fake warm-ups. I'm a big fan with the cast, and he's doing all this stuff before. And
his nickname, he said, "You call me Mr. Unlimited" in that video. Just so good. the corniest dude in the history of sports.
All right, so we got that, and we got possibly Aaron Rodgers. I think this line's telling. I think everyone thinks Aaron Rodgers is back with the Packers.
He only gets 1 day, right? So if he's cleared Saturday, he's cleared Saturday.
That's what I think. Yeah, if he's cleared Saturday, he's going to be good to go. And this is a really good matchup for him to come back for against Seattle. I think Aaron Jones is a unbelievable play at 6,900. First of all, against Seattle, we've already seen Green Bay use him in the passing game a good amount. And this is the best spot for running backs, using them in the passing game. Aaron Rodgers will do it, and he's so good. Teams are going to respect Aaron Rodgers. I think it's going to leave a lot of big plays for Aaron Jones, screen plays, and then obviously he's got all the talent in the world to run the football on top of it. So big game for Aaron Jones, I think, here, 6,900. I will go back to this Seattle spot that for some reason nobody sees. Is just a nut spot. What do you guys think? Tony, what do you think?
Yeah, the funny thing is you were talking up Aaron Jones, and the guy I've been waiting to talk up the whole show is A.J. Dillon, the true running back of the group that is only 4,800 in this spot. I could even see in a way playing Aaron Jones. I know it's more of a showdown move. We don't think about that as much on a full slate, and there's other value on the slate too, but I'm just saying I don't hate both running backs more than the passing game even. Because, Rodgers is amazing. I love Rodgers. I love him and Devontae, obviously. But not practicing for a week. He's done all these interviews the last 2 weeks. I wouldn't be shocked if they came out and were a little rusty on offense after everything that's happened. I know he's the best. He could come out and crush. Not saying I don't like him, but I would rather just lean on these runners a little bit because Seattle – is going to give them the ability to run. There's no way they don't. It's going to happen. So I kind of like the pivot off of Devontae. Everyone's going to play Devontae. I like the runners, Aaron Jones, and I like A.J. Dillon even more. He keeps getting work. He even got 4 targets last week, caught all 4, 44 yards, 8 for 40. If he gets 10 carries, 10, 11, 12 carries, 3 or 4 targets, and scores twice, he could break the slate.
Yeah, and you can make a case that obviously the situations they've been in the last 2 weeks has catapulted A.J. Dillon to have to kind of be more involved. They might have changed things up a little bit.
They've always liked to, though.
No, they have. I'm just saying, though, from what we've seen from Green Bay the first few weeks and then the last 2, it's clearly been a little different, right? I mean, if I go back to week 7, A.J. Dillon played 13 snaps.
Look at the
now
3
we're
weeks
talking,
before that, though.
What has he played?
So 6 games ago, he had 15 carries. Just carries, though. He had 15 carries, 8 carries, 11 carries, 1 off game, 16 carries, 8 carries. So 5 of the last 6 games, he's had 8+ carries.
But you're bringing up the passing game. I think the passing game is due to that extra work is due to what they've had to deal with receivers being out with COVID and then Aaron Rodgers obviously being out. That's all I'm saying. But I do agree with you that the spot is like the complete nut spot. And listen, if A.J. Dillon gets you 50 yards and a touchdown and maybe he gets you 2 or 3 catches, like if he does that, I mean, at 4,800,
I kind of think that's his like floor. I think he does that. Like what you said, it's just a matter of if he scores the second one or not.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you think that, then you should definitely play him because he will not be owned in Singletary, Johnson. That's a range where you're going to get some chalk, I think. So, all right, I'm going to play more Aaron Jones though. I know that for a fact. This is just sets up as an Aaron Jones game. Should have been a James Ross. Like, I can't wait. This is going to be the Aaron Jones game we're going to get.
I'll tell you whose game it is. It's DK Metcalf's game. He's in that same price range as our other.
That's the other side.
Big Mike. I mean, DK. Whoo! He's going to crush.
Yep. I agree with you.
As long as Russ actually plays, I should say that. If he somehow doesn't play, or if Rodgers doesn't play, I like this game a lot less if one of them doesn't play.
If either of them don't play or one doesn't play, I'm probably out on this game. Outside of if Rodgers plays, I'd still play Jones. But I wouldn't want it. But DK Metcalf for sure from the Seattle side. I love it. Dunkle, let's talk about the betting angle here. If these quarterbacks are back, who do we like in that scenario?
Yeah, both these guys play. Call it a slight lean at this number 49.5. But the problem is once you get 100% confirmation on both guys, this total is going to spike a bit. It's likely going to probably close at 51, 51.5. If once, in fact, both guys get ruled that they're going to play, you could take a flyer on 49.5 now. The problem is that if Wilson or Rodgers get downgraded to, doubtful or out, whatever, this total is going to drop like 3 or 4 points. So is it even worth the risk? I don't think so. So we'll always get official news for this game. And this will likely be like the primetime game of the entire Sunday afternoon. So including the 1 o'clock. So I will probably stay with this. Be a fun game to watch, not so much bet. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, if you get both guys in, I'd argue for some value at 50, 49.5 over. But other than that, I'll sit on the silence for this one.
Yeah. It's going to be a good game if both guys are back. I'm excited. I'm excited to see Russ. God, I've hated to watch Seattle play the last few weeks without Russ and Geno. I can't wait to see him back with DK and then obviously Rodgers back with all his weapons. It's going to be a good game. Boys, we broke down the entire slate. We made it under 2 hours too, Tony. So suck it. All right. You talking your shit about JSU speaking too long. Well, you know what? We made it under 2 hours. So how about that? Hit that like button because we made it under 2 hours and the subscribe button, bottom right hand, that red subscribe button. Hit those two. All right. Do it for JSU. Appreciate it. Did not rant on said coach. I told you I wouldn't. And I'm sorry for the people that did not get the rant. You can blame Tony. Send all your angry messages to BigT44 at BigT44. He will receive them. And if you have any other issues, you sign up for RunPure Sports and you don't like anything, just message Tony. All right. Send him nasty messages. He's the boss. So if you don't like something, then you need to talk to him. Dunkle's the boss now. Well, Tony bosses me around. Dunkle's nice to me. So that's all I got to say about that. Dunkle, I don't know about you. Is Tony nice to you?
Tony treats me with respect.
Oh, well, that's good. At least one of them. Dunkle gives like the proper answer. Like, just knew it. Dunkle. Well, Tony treats me like shit. So any nasty messages you want to send to Big T, I'm all for it. Yell at him for scheduling or shows or whatever you want. You can yell at Big T, messages, DMs. You know where to find him. Discord, Twitter. He's on there. So check that out. Anything else, boys, before we get out of here? Big T, final words.
No, I'm trying to root in this college football winner that our new host gave out today. Central Michigan. Talked to Dunkle earlier. Central Michigan -2.5. Dropped a nice little chunk. We're going to the house is where we're going as we close things down here. Touchdown.
So where are we at? Are we looking good for the?
Yeah, we're -2.5 and we're up 17 if we make an extra point right here. So we're in good shape.
All right. I like it. Yeah, check out all those bets. We got them on Twitter. I think it was -2.5. So, check all those free bets out. They'll be going up there, right, Tony? She'll be posting a few of them, or at least one for a few days a week. So check those out. Yep. Follow her at Allie McCann on Twitter. Is that right?
Yep.
All right. So check her out. Check out her videos. She'll be dropping them. Hopefully you guys checked out the winner, and hopefully it comes through. I'll be rooting it in for all the people who bet it. That's going to do it, though. Dunkle, appreciate you hanging out with me and Big T, even though Big T had to leave the show multiple times, but I appreciate you sticking it out for me. Tony, good luck in your household. I hope the kids are okay and you figure out whatever's going on. And Amber comes home soon, because clearly
means the world to me, JSU.
Clearly the house needs Amber. All right. Tony needs you, Amber. Get back as soon as possible. That's going to do it, though, guys. Appreciate you hanging out. Good luck in all your contests. For me, JSU, Uncle Dunkle, Big T. Simon, wrap this show up. Get us out of here.